Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Whether you're a nonprofit professional out there on the front lines, a dedicated researcher, or a consultant guiding organizations to their goals, I am absolutely thrilled you're tuning in. Today, we're tackling a subject that, well, let's be honest, can feel pretty intimidating, but it's absolutely vital for your mission: Grant Writing 101. Our whole focus for this explainer is to just completely demystify the foundational elements of grant writing. We're going to take the tedious guesswork right out of the process and give you a clear, structured path to success.
Okay, let's dive into this. If you take away literally just one concept from our time together today, let it be this overarching metaphor. You have to treat a grant proposal exactly like a construction project. I mean, you wouldn't just start tossing bricks onto an empty lot without a plan, right? In the exact same way, a successful grant requires a well-constructed blueprint way before you ever lay down that first word. So, here's the syllabus for our little building project today. First, we've got Part 1, the foundation, focusing on purpose. Second is Part 2, the structural pillars, covering those core elements. Then, Part 3, the custom finish, which is all about tailoring. And finally, Part 4, the power tools, where we look at AI in grant writing. Let's get right to it. Starting off with Part 1, the foundation, purpose of a proposal. Let's look at Phase 1 of our building project. We need to lay the foundation, and that means really establishing the core philosophy behind why an organization is actually asking for funding in the first place. I want to ask you this directly, and just kind of think about it for a second. What is the real purpose of a grant proposal? There's this huge misconception out there that a grant is simply a dry, formal, overly bureaucratic request for money. A lot of people think it's literally just filling out endless forms and begging for cash using fancy professional jargon. But if you approach it that way, your foundation is going to crack before you even start building.
The truth is, a grant proposal is actually a bridge. It serves as a direct connection between your organization's deeply held mission and a potential funder's specific interests. A good proposal is actually a highly compelling story. It's your prime opportunity to showcase the incredibly important work your organization does, the very real people you serve, and the tangible difference you're making in your community. The true purpose here is to convince the funder that investing in your project is a worthwhile endeavor that perfectly aligns with their own goals. Basically, it's your chance to shine. Let's move on and see how this builds in Part 2, the structural pillars, 6 essential elements. So now that we have a solid, story-driven foundation, we need to frame the house. We have to look at the specific structural puzzle pieces required for a successful proposal. Crafting this is kind of like assembling a giant puzzle where every single piece plays a non-negotiable role. These 6 elements are essentially the load-bearing pillars of our building. We've got the letter of inquiry, the statement of need, the project description, the budget, your organization information, and finally the conclusion. We're going to walk through these pillars right now so you know exactly why a funder cares so deeply about each one. First up is the letter of inquiry, or the LOI. You can think of this as the front door of your building. When a funder walks up, this is the very first thing they see, which means it needs to immediately hook them. It's your elevator pitch. You have to concisely and impactfully communicate exactly who you are, what you're proposing to do, why it matters, and how much it's going to cost. Honestly, if the front door doesn't open smoothly, they aren't going to step inside to see the rest of your proposal. But once they are inside, they encounter the statement of need. This is your why it matters anchor. In this section, you're explaining the core problem that your project actually addresses. But you can't just state that a problem exists. You have to combine compelling data with really powerful storytelling to prove why your project is urgent right now. The funder needs to genuinely feel the weight and urgency of the problem before they're ever going to care about the brilliant solution you're about to offer. And that brilliant solution? That's found right here in the project description. This is the actual actionable blueprint of the work. You are showing the funder exactly what you'll do and exactly how you'll do it. You need to clearly lay out 4 things: your concrete objectives, the specific methods you'll use to hit them, a realistic timeline for the work, and the personnel, the actual talented human beings who will be executing this plan. Next, we arrive at the budget. So the crucial point here is that a budget is never, ever just a dry list of numbers on a spreadsheet. It is actually a critical transparency test for your organization. A detailed, highly accurate budget shows funders exactly how you plan to use their money. You have to be as transparent and specific as humanly possible here. Why? Because a crystal clear budget proves that your actionable blueprint is actually grounded in reality. Finally, we wrap up our structural pillars with the organization info and the conclusion. Think of this as the roof that protects the house and kind of the final inspection before handover. In the organization info, you're showcasing your capability to execute the project by highlighting past successes, qualifications, and expertise. You're proving without a doubt that you can do this. Then, the conclusion wraps the whole shebang up by leaving a powerful, lasting impression on the absolute necessity of their support and the incredible impact your project is going to have. Moving right along to part 3, the custom finish, tailoring to your funder.
Okay, so we have a fully constructed building now. The foundation is poured, the pillars are up. But let's be real, no one wants to move into a generic gray box. It's time to shift our narrative heavily over to the funder's perspective and apply some custom interior design to our building. I want to pause for a second and just let this sink in. One size does not fit all. If you are sending the exact same copy-pasted proposal to 20 different funders, you are doing it wrong. Every single funder has completely unique guidelines, distinct priorities, and vastly different funding histories. To actually increase your chances of success, you absolutely must apply a custom finish to every single submission.
Now, it's really easy to view this tailoring as a tedious chore, like you're just jumping through administrative hoops. But understanding their specific mission, researching their funding history, following their unique preferences, and showing alignment, that's not a chore. It is the absolute best way to prove a direct return on that funder's specific investment. You're showing them exactly how your project will help them achieve their goals. You are customizing the house to match the buyer's exact tastes. And that brings us to part 4, the power tools AI in grant writing. We've covered the foundation, the structure, and the custom finish. But between you and me, building this blueprint manually takes a massive amount of time and effort. This is where we bring in AI in grant writing. Think of it as the modern heavy machinery that makes constructing this entire project so much easier, faster, and way more efficient. Let's do a quick direct comparison, because this really is where the industry is heading. The old way? Endlessly scrolling through spreadsheets to find grants, staring in terror at a blank page trying to draft a narrative, and spending just hours upon hours doing manual funder research. It's exhausting. But the Grantboost AI way? It changes the game. Intelligent tools provide matched grant recommendations so you can stop scrolling. They eliminate that scary blank page with templates and personalized prompts. And they instantly pull data on 990s and past awards to inform that custom finish we just talked about. AI entirely eliminates the tedious guesswork and manual research. And why does that matter for you? Because it frees you up to focus on the stuff that actually wins grants, the art of storytelling and relationship building.
Grant writing truly is both an art and a science. It requires careful planning, a really keen understanding of your potential funders, and the use of the right tools. But at the end of the day, when the blueprint is finalized and the structure is built, each and every proposal is a story waiting to be told. It's a story of potential, of profound change, and of lasting impact in your community. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought today. With the foundation laid and the power tools right there in your hands, what story will you tell? Get out there, stop staring at that blank page, and start crafting your blueprint for success. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and happy building.